Hi, I'm Hannah Carsonell with Quarantine Racism Educational Services, and tonight I'm going to be talking about how educators can fight against ICE related trauma that their students are facing. So, this presentation is entitled Guardians of Their Future Educators Rising Against ICE Related Trauma. And that is compliments of Dr. Campbell, the Guardians of Their Future. So, a little bit of an overview, what we're going to discuss. First, I'm going to be talking a little bit about us at Quarantine Racism. I'm going to introduce you to our team and our different kinds of expertise that we do. I'm going to examine new ICE policies, do a bit of a summary on that. We're going to go into the impacts of the new ICE policies, examine ICE related trauma that students are facing, discuss how educators can support students, how they can support students through policy. Then we're going to get into the policy process, policy advocacy, and policy writing. And I'm going to be providing an example of a bill that we're going to go over. And then the bill will be part of the case studies, and then I'll be doing my conclusion. So, a little bit about us. Quarantine Racism Educational Services. We're dedicated to serving students, supporting teachers, administrators, and parents through emphasizing equity and the strengths of diversity in the classroom. So we are Black owned, veteran owned, provide free resources. We also have an equity professional development course for educators that's currently on sale for $297. We also have textbooks for sale. We have free articles on our website, graphics and videos on various initiatives and current events in education. We do live stream presentations such as this and panel discussions on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And they are always live on the Quarantine Racism Educational Services Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So this is our team here. So Dr. Mishkat Al-Mumin is a racial equity brand ambassador based in Nevada, and her area of expertise is grant acquisition, adult learning, and transformative education. Dr. Campbell is our founder, former principal and educator based in New Jersey. His areas of expertise are educational services and consulting, as well as tax preparation. And there's me, Hannah Carsonell. I have a master in public policy. So my area of expertise is public policy. I am a racial equity brand ambassador based in Massachusetts. And my expertise is also on policy research and analysis. And I have experience in grassroots organizing and nonprofit work as well. So, examining new Trump administration ICE policies, there's been an extreme increase in ICE raids. ICE has been actively deployed in various cities. There's been a removal of schools and other places as sensitive locations. And sensitive locations are schools, places of worship, hospitals, and other places such as that, other public places, parks. And they were established by the Obama administration. Later on, different parks were added on to schools, and other like school adjacent locations, after school programs, and things like that were added by the Biden administration. So these are all now within ICE's jurisdiction, and they used to be protected under the sensitive location protection. So there's been more detention centers. And I wanted to talk about this statistic. 1 in 10 US families are mixed immigration status households. So the impacts of new ICE policies are, again, there's been an increase in deportations, causing family separations, which has led to absences in the school and workplace, in school and workplaces, and ICE related trauma as well. So examining ICE related trauma. So these are some of the impacts and the symptoms of the trauma that students and their families and people within the community have been facing as a result of these policies. So, for the first one, fear in general, isolation, hopelessness, a loss in sense of security and safety, PTSD, anxiety, depression. There's been a disruption in academic progress for students and an interruption in emotional development, which is extremely impactful when children are such a young age going through these things. So, how can educators support students with ICE related trauma? So you can provide them with resources, distribute Know Your Rights materials, provide counseling, and reach out to social workers as well. Oh, this didn't come up here. One second. Let me see if I go out. Okay, so I'm just going to discuss this since it's not showing up on here. And go to my notes on here. So 10 ways. I'm not sure why this is. Okay, I'm going to share this. It's showing up here. Perfect. All right. So these are 10 various ways that educators can support students that are facing ICE related trauma. So, number one, let all students and families know that they're valued members of the community. Number two, create different channels for communication in families' languages. Number three, consider creating outreach teams. Number four, learn more about the ways immigration issues impact students. Number five, look for ways to provide social and emotional support for immigrant students. Number six, help families keep their emergency contact information updated. Number seven, make a plan for caring for children whose caregivers are detained during the school day. Number eight, ask for guidance on relevant immigration policies. Number nine, provide opportunities for families to ask questions. Number 10, reach out to community organizations that represent and serve your families. And you can also reach out to national ones as well, or even go online through social media and reach out to us as well, and reach out to different organizations that are speaking about these issues and can provide services that have to do with ICE related trauma and immigration services. And don't feel like you can't reach out and have to sort of reinvent the wheel yourself, because there are other people that are willing to help. I know it is a really dark time right now and it doesn't seem that way, but there are still a lot of organizations out here that are doing the work and are willing to help in these situations. So, supporting students through policy. You can propose policies to create change for your students and others. Take action to support students through policy. Promote existing policies to be implemented in your schools. Establish your school as a safe zone, which again would be like a sensitive location, as I spoke about, which used to be a protection, but you can also add a school policy of establishing the school as a safe zone, and also talking to the police department about establishing it as a safe zone, and then being able to sort of counteract ICE. So, another thing that can be done is protecting student privacy. You can also add, although there are existing laws that are doing that, a lot of that is starting to become overturned with, again, the sensitive location. Um, the lack of that now, the sensitive location protections. So you can also add that as a school policy. Can propose or implement policies that counteract new ICE policies and address them. So the policy process, I wanted to go through this. I've gone through this before in my presentations, but I think it's important to go over to sort of give you a map of what policy making can look like and how policy implementation goes if you're unfamiliar. So, one, agenda setting. So, you want to get public attention, which focuses on a public problem and issue, and you want to reach out to officials. Number two, policy formulation. Policymakers in the legislature and the bureaucracy take up the issue. They create legislative, regulatory, or programmatic strategies to address the problem. Policy adoption. This is when a policy is formally adopted as a policy solution, and it's usually in the form of legislation or in the form of rules. Policy implementation. So, in this situation, in this step, government agencies begin the job of making a policy work by bringing it to action and establishing various procedures, writing guidelines, different documents, bills, or issuing grants. Policy evaluation, policy analysis, inside and outside government, determine whether the policy is addressing the issue and what can be done if it's not addressing the issue. And there may be revisions recommended after this process. And as you can see, it kind of is an ongoing recyclable process in a way. Because there's always, you figure out once something's implemented, you figure out, oh, we should have done this way, or we could do this better by adding this. So this is a policy writing example. I decided to put an example of one of the new bills in Massachusetts in the Senate, which is protecting student information and supporting students from immigrant families. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a look into the language that goes into bills and how to, write policy, how different things are described within the policy. So this is an act relative to affirming and maintaining equal access to public education for all children. Section 1, Chapter 69 of the General Laws is hereby amended by inserting after 37 the following section. Section 38, Standards for Interpretation and Translation Services. The department shall promulgate regulations establishing standards for the provision of interpretation and translation services, including standards for the qualification of interpreters and translators to limited English proficient parents and legal guardians of all public school students. Such regulations shall include, but not be limited to, the following qualification requirements: one, bilingualism; two, knowledge in both languages of specialized terms or concepts; number three, training for interpreters and translators; number four, ethics of interpreting, translating; number five, the need to maintain confidentiality. And then it goes on to say, said regulations may authorize the department to waive requirements at the request of a school or district or a school committee, board, or other appropriate governing body, provided that all waivers shall be in writing and state the reason for each waiver. So I wanted to go into, again, policy writing and what an official bill, what policy writing looks like in its finalized form. And I think this is a great example of things that schools can implement and something that can be doable. So these are potential policies that you could implement within your school that you can propose. So, number one is the safe zone designation, again, because of the removal of sensitive locations, schools being one of them. Designating your school as a safe zone is kind of like bringing that protection back in a sense and doing it on a local level, even if it's being undermined on a federal level. So, a counselor mandate, I think it's really important that students can be able to seek counselors about the issues that they're experiencing, the ICE related trauma. It's a lot on, especially as I said before, developing students that are just beginning to, emotionally develop. And this is a big disruption and setback in their development to be experiencing this. Another thing that can be done, another policy to be implemented, is requiring a distribution of information on immigration services. Another one related to that is distributing Know Your Rights materials. Number five, requiring translators and bilingual counselors to be available to students. Number six, policy, which reiterates FERPA protections of student information. So, as I was speaking about earlier, there are some protections that exist, but again, they're starting to be run back federally. But these FERPA protections protect students' information from being accessible by third parties. So, by establishing this policy within your school, you would be protecting students that come from immigrant families, their information, and you wouldn't have to provide that to ICE if they showed up to the school. Number seven, provide families with information about legal services, whether it's local attorneys, whether it's the ACLU. As I said, there's a lot of different organizations, and it doesn't necessarily have to be local. There are people willing to help. If you can't find someone locally, there are people willing to help elsewhere that can discuss these things with you and families. Number eight, develop emergency plans. Unfortunately, as there is a lack of protection of schools as sensitive locations, there are cases in which, as we've seen, ICE has been going on to campuses. So, in this scenario, you want to have a policy of an emergency plan of what steps need to be taken and what you need to do to protect students in that scenario. Number nine, establish a network of experts for families to reach out to. So this is another thing that you can reach out to people locally. And again, if you can't find someone locally within your state or throughout the country, but you want to get experts such as, different bilingual counselors, social workers, people that are in immigration law, again, organizations such as the ACLU and other organizations which provide services to those dealing with ICE and immigration services. And number 10, another thing that can be done is creating after school groups promoting solidarity and support. So there can be different after school groups for students that are experiencing these hardships and can sort of give them something to try to bring them joy in such a difficult time. So, policy advocacy. So, when you propose your policy, when you come up with it, how are you going to advocate for it? because that's also an important thing to do. It's not just the writing the policy, it's speaking with people within the community and different stakeholders to advocate for your policy and speak about why it's important, what issues it could be solving, and get support from others to show how imperative it is. So, first, you want to identify and communicate with stakeholders. Then, you want to communicate with families and people within the community. 3, collaborate with local organizations, community centers, and attorneys. Again, you can also do state, national. You want to raise awareness at PTA meetings, school board meetings, county commission meetings, city council, and other places, other forums. And number 5, you can email and write letters to your local and state government officials to make them aware of the situation and just to put a little bit more pressure on them, even though they're already aware with what's happening right now. But that can put some more pressure on them to sort of deal with the situation. So, in conclusion, the new Trump administration ICE policies have increased deportations, which has resulted in family separation and ICE related trauma in students and families within the community. And teachers can address this through providing various resources, as well as proposing and advocating for policies which would support students and their well being, as well as their families. So those are my references. And here's how you can contact us. Email, LinkedIn, YouTube. It's all Quarantine Racism Educational Services. The email is moreinfo@quarantineracism.com. I have Dr. Campbell's information there, Dr. Moomin's, and my information as well, and my referral link. And feel free to reach out whenever if you want to make a comment, if you're having an issue with something within your school, if there's certain concerns that you're having, or if you just want to have a discussion about education, the current state of education policy, we are here to do that and to serve you.